Thanks, brother.
103 feels great.
All
I forgot
right.
to do that on a session this week, so I remember today.
Good job. Look at you.
We learn. We learn and grow.
All right. Welcome to everyone joining in. It's a good group. We should have had music, guys, so we could dance.
I thought you were going to bring the music. I was actually cued to start music, and then you showed up, and I was like, oh, Lachey's here. She's the music.
Oh, you want me to sing?
Yeah, please.
Okay, no. All right. The crazy DC weather is actually a thing. It was 80 degrees yesterday. It is actively snowing right now. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. So thank you guys for joining us for this wonderful design session, College Without Childcare, presented by us on this Sporg team, Education Design Lab Sporg team. If you guys have, or I'm sorry, if you guys are new to the Sporg team, I'd love to introduce everyone to you. First, we have Camille, who is our Senior Associate of Student Parent Success. We have Brianna Shaw, who is a designer on Student Parent team. She also sits on a lot of other projects as well as Camille here at the lab. We have Rebecca, who is our Senior Education Designer looking over the student parent work. And then we have me. My name is Lachey, and I am the manager of People, Culture, Org Performance. I sit on the Ops, People, and Culture team here at the lab, but I also love to do my project work with Sporg. It's such a personal project to me. So I love any time that I'm able to help out and do anything for this wonderful team. So I am happy to be here and happy to do all of the things for you guys today. So just a quick intro on who Spork is. I always love to ground us in just who we're talking about when we say student parents and the work that we do here on Spork. So um, right now, 1 in 4 college students is a parent, and that means in almost every classroom, every advising office, or even just a virtual course space, students' parents are already there, just often balancing school alongside caregiving and work and family responsibilities. So about a year ago, we kicked off this work as an advisory council, and we brought together faculty, institutional leaders, and really just asked a very simple question, and that is, what do you want to get out of this space? And so across the roles and across institutions, I think that the common thread was really clear and that people genuinely just wanted to better understand student parents and really figure out how to support them more effectively. But they just weren't sure where to begin. So that's where Sport comes in. And you'll see here that we are just an open virtual community, really designed by and for student parents. And its purpose is really to just bring student parents together with faculty and institutional leaders to really redesign experiences for parents and learners, and then ultimately just drive real systemic change within higher education. And I think that what makes this community really powerful is the exchange of perspective, and it really just creates space for student parents and institutions to really learn from one another directly, whether it's through connection, collaboration, co-design. And that shared understanding is really at the heart of this work. So, very excited for you guys to hear from our panelists of student parents today. We have a few of them joining us. So we'll start off with um, well, we've already done intros and a little hot start. We'll move into our hot start next. That's really just an icebreaker. That's what we call icebreakers here at the lab. We call them hot starts. We'll get into setting the stage, and then we'll let our childcare panelists speak for a while, and then we'll do a fun mural board and a little gallery walk for you guys. And then we'll close out our meeting today with a few reflections. So I want to start off by asking you guys a question. So we're going to do it in Chatterfall style. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Chatterfall, I'm going to ask this question. Would love for you to just type your answers into the box, but we are not going to send the answers through the chat until I say go. So it's kind of like a waterfall effect. So the question that I would love for you guys to answer is who cared for you when you were a child and not in school? So if you guys want to go ahead and type those answers in, I'll give it a couple of seconds for you guys to get that in, and then I'll let you know when to send. All right. You guys ready? One, two, three. Let's go. All right. So I see a lot of moms, neighbors, extended school program or your nanny, mom. My mom would take me to work with her. Of that family, grandma, my mom. So a lot of motherly figures that we have that are caring for you. You were not in school. I love that. Um, and babysitters or yourself. All right, we'll go to thank you guys for submitting those answers. We can go ahead to the next question. And we'll do another chatter fall, but I'll send this over to Brianna.
Thank you, Lachey. So, hi everyone. I would say confidence is one of the number one thing that, we all want to have. And so we have another chat fall for you. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you in supporting a parent or learner who does not have access to childcare? And so I'll give you like a couple seconds to type your number and then send once I say send. So 1, 2, 3, send. Okay, I see a 1. I see some threes. I see some fives, fours. It's great to hear. So it seems like the majority of everyone is very confident in their abilities to be able to support a parent or learner who doesn't have access. And you're here today to learn more and how you can do more into that. So we can go to the next slide. So today's goal, first, we want to understand childcare challenges faced by parent and learners. So as Lachey said, you will hear from our panelists to kind of dive in deeper behind the stories of the experience that they have faced, and then also to provide feasible supports for student parents when there's no childcare available. As we all know, things happen and you have to pivot as a student parent. And so what is out there that can actually support student parents when they're needing to go to class on time, when they're needing to get to work on time? And just the partnerships and things that are there. So we want to lead with some current state statistics that is currently surfacing, online that has been, collected by different research institutions. Um, Out of that, 3.8 million college students are raising children, and 1 in 4 undergrads is a parent. And as Lachey said, that is like almost, the majority of the students that are on campus. 42% of them attend community colleges, and many of them have children under 6. So we know that is a job in itself when you're managing a 3-year-old. At the moment, that's currently what I'm managing, a 3-year-old, and that's a lot. Um, the next statistic is 53% of student parents experience food insecurity, and 68% experience the housing insecurity. 4 million of those student parents, the slots missing nationwide, and thousands of providers closed during the pandemic. So as we know, the pandemic shifted a lot of things. Things closed down, which means that those student parents who had access to that specific childcare may no longer have access to it, and they had to find other things to support them in that journey. The staffing shortages continue to limit that access to that childcare. Community college costs at least like 13,000 per year. Child care is like 13,000 per child annually. And honestly, little insider, my daughter, she goes to school, and right now prices have increased from what it was like last year. So those numbers are continuing to be rising and absolutely insane. But needless to say, 52% of student parents, they leave college without a degree within 6 years. And that is like a high rate. And a lot of this is surrounding childcare, them not being able to have that support system to be able to complete their degree, to be able to graduate. And only 8% of single mothers, out of that, only 8% of single mothers graduate in that 6 years. So now we'll have our panelists. So when we think about if childcare cannot be consumed, how should colleges design systems that still allow parents and students to succeed? So we'll hear from our panelists. I'll allow them to come off of mute to kind of introduce themselves and who they are, and then we'll kick off our discussion with our panelists. So, and Sarah, I guess I'll just start with you since you're the first person I see.
All right. Hello. My name is Ansara. So I was actually a former student parent last year. So I attended an online boot camp, virtual boot camp from January to I think October of last year. So it was in the hold on. Yeah, it was in the evening. In the evening, I have my child right now talking about trying to balance different things. I'm in the meeting right now. My child didn't want to do quiet time, so he's in the back with me, and I'm in the carpool lane. So it's trying to, make everything work. But yeah, so did the boot camp last year. While also I have three young kids, so it's the 6 and under age. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. Marisol, I'll pass it off to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Marisol Vejar. I'm a former parenting student at UCLA and at Cal State Long Beach. I'm currently taking a break right now so that I could work full time. And I'm a mother to a beautiful son who's 7 now, and is in first grade. And I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. Stephanie.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Stiles. I am the Executive Director of Study and Play, which is a student parent resource that we created. I am a former student parent and also child of a student parent. So I have both of those lenses that I get to rely on and help me move forward, moving this student parent work, which I'm super excited to do. Yeah.
Thank you. And lastly, Susanna.
Hi, everybody. My name is Susanna Hines. I am the Kids on Campus Partnership Director at the National Head Start Association. There, I co-lead efforts to bring more Head Start programs to community colleges. A little bit about my background. I am a Head Start child. I was the one where I went to school with my mom. I went to work with my mom, and she worked in the kitchen. So Head Start was our lifesaver. I now have a 3-year-old son. And so I know the struggles of finding quality, affordable care. But I've been in the student parent space as a researcher in a lot of different ways for like the past 7 years. So excited to be here.
Thank you so much. So, thank you so much, panelists, for being here today. And I'll kick it off to Rebecca so we can get things started.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca, and I'm so excited to hear a little bit more from all of you today. I have a quick question to get us started out, but I wanted very quickly to start with some of those statistics that Brianna already shared with us before we jump into this first question. So again, 3.8, 1 in 5 is outdated. It's been updated to 1 in 4 students is a parent. So we already know that student parents are in our classrooms and in our colleges. We also know that more than half of them have children under 6, which means that they require some form of childcare, formal or informal, in order to attend class. One of the reasons that this conversation is so critical for us right now is because childcare is becoming harder to access. Our students today do not have access to the childcare slots that they need, and the U.S. Treasury Department states that 4 million fewer childcare slots exist than are needed. So that means 4 million children in the United States do not have access to the childcare slots that they need. So, at the same time, we know that the cost of attendance is skyrocketing and the cost of childcare is just as high, if not higher. If you have 2 kids, forget it. It's higher than attending college. So, when we're thinking about all of this together, I would love to hear from our panel. Some of us student parents, some of us experience in the field. What challenges exist for parenting students who are accessing childcare? And we'll just open it up to whoever wants to jump in first. What are those challenges that are existing for us?
I can start. I would definitely say the cost is a factor. I mean, no longer a student parent now, but can definitely still relate to like, it's almost like this break even point where it's like, okay, I have to work enough or make enough money in order to provide childcare. Otherwise, it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't make the most financial sense to go to work. So yeah, so I would say definitely cost is a barrier. In that, like, Brianna mentioned, you mentioned before too, it's just like the rising cost of childcare. And I have three kids. Um, one is currently only one is school age. So trying to find childcare where they're not able to be in school, that's hard having multiple kids.
Yeah, I guess I'll add on to that. I think, and I'm gonna talk about this later as well in my story, but there's limited subsidized spots. At the time, that's really what I needed, and there was childcare available around, but it wasn't subsidized. So I think for student parents that are in school, we really rely on those subsidized spots, especially for on-campus childcare. And I remember it was just a tug and pull for me to try to find it. Um, yeah.
Mm.
I'll go ahead and add on to that because both of those are very true. Being able to find subsidized spaces as well as quality childcare. But I'm also going to go ahead and add from myself as well as some of the student parents who we've served. Time poverty is really a thing in the way that they're able to access childcare. Some student parents attend work while they have their kids, but they're trying to find spaces after traditional hours or after their child is out of school. So having to find means to pay for after hour cares or things along those lines have been something that they said was really affecting them.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'll jump in a little bit from again, this is the Head Start lens. It's a federally funded. I'll go into that a little bit more. But it's simply the biggest barrier. We heard it, affordable, not enough of affordable care, the quality of the care that folks are receiving. And I think I want to make sure that we're underscoring the care and the need for infants and toddlers. I think that is even more scarce. The cost is too high, but even with Head Start, it's a free program for families. We're seeing really long wait lists. We're seeing that sometimes the childcare hours don't match the college students' work hours or class schedules. Transportation can be a real big issue, especially in rural areas. I had interviewed a few rural student parents a while back, and they were saying, my home is here, my Head Start, or sorry, my childcare is 20 miles east, and my college is 20 miles west. Like, how do I do that within the hours of the day? And so a lot of the times parents, they're faced with difficult decisions. And they have to make a tough choice of, pausing their studies, and until they find that support that they need. The beauty of Head Start is that, it's not just center-based care. We have a lot of other options that I'll go into later, but I think access and the logistical aspects of that is huge.
Mm, I appreciate that so much. And when we think about student parents being in college, traditionally colleges did not have to think about or consider childcare as in their scope. And we're kind of asking them to reimagine that childcare and support for parenting students actually is in your scope. Um, we know that when 52% of parents are leaving without a degree, and only 8% of single moms are leaving. And when we talk to student parents and we research, and we know that the majority of the issues that they are reporting having to stop out because of are childcare related issues. So I'm going to let you all kind of tell us as the college practitioners, why should we care about the status of childcare today?
That is right up my alley. That I'll go ahead and be first with that because a part of the work that I do is I go to institutions from junior colleges all the way up to post-secondary, law schools, things along those lines, and I really talk to the institutions about why they should care about childcare and being able to support all of their campus students and not just a small traditional, I hate that word, but the traditional students that don't have additional barriers that usually would have them have to stop out or consider other duties while trying to gain their education. So I enjoy going to presidents and telling them, hey, you can't have a law school, which is a professional school, on campus and not acknowledge that they may have families or other obligations, just like you can't with your undergrad students. And then I also go to community colleges because, as we know, a lot of community college students, they are trying to re-engage in education, or they're trying to recertify themselves, but they also do it because they have children. A lot of them are parents in community colleges. So for them not to have childcare and then also not have resources to support the students that they do have that have families, I love to point that out to them. So, in doing that, again, we just say, hey, these are the people that are on your campus: adult learners, returning learners, people who want to re engage in obtaining their education. You have to support them just as equally as you support the traditional student who has access to all of these resources. And most of the time, luckily, on our behalf, they've been able to reimagine that and really see the impacts of what supporting their population on their campus of student parents really can do and what it looks like.
I can piggyback off that. Colleges should care because student parents are a significant and growing population in higher education, and they're highly motivated to succeed, right? A lot of the times we heard folks saying, my child is my motivation to get my degree, to be economically mobile. We know that on average, student parents have a higher GPA than their non-parenting peers. Again, speaking to that motivation, and it's not about, that rigor of college is not for them. Like, they are able to do that. A lot of times it's just a logistical aspects. Few campuses have enough care. We saw, 10 years back, there was more on-campus childcare for parents. And so, that's something that through the Kids on Campus initiative, we're really working to try to co-locate those childcare Head Start centers on college campuses. But what we've seen a little bit through our partnership and with Head Start programs is, again, this is a lot of anecdotal evidence, is that it improves retention, completion rates improve, student stress decreases around like the logistics of mitigating, again, the work, the childcare, multiple children, and their studies. Families become more stable, and then children enter more prepared to succeed in school. I think the beauty of why they should care, it's not just about, the one individual student. It's really about economic mobility for an important population, workforce development as well, and thinking about the local economy where these colleges are. You're going to need, the adult learner specifically population, which includes a good share of student parents, to meet those labor market demands. And I think one thing that I will share the quote, but I'll share it later because I know we're limited on time. But really, colleges investing in student parents is investing in a two-gen approach. And we can go more into that. But really, one of the college presidents was like, I'm not just helping the student parent get to and through college, I'm also seeing their child as a potential student in the future. And so I love that perspective from that president.
That's
I
great.
could.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'll go quickly. Yeah, I mean, I think I just piggybacking on what they said, but definitely the economic mobility piece. I think oftentimes I think just doing some research, looking at the numbers, a lot of the students or student parents are single moms, and it's like for whatever reason, whatever their background may be, they are trying to gain more financial stability, and I think it's important, for them to have financial stability.
Yeah.
Everything they said, but I think the focus also too is helping and uplifting not just one student, but two generations at a time. Yeah.
We're gonna I wanna stop and chat with Marisol for a second. Marisol was a designer on our sport design team earlier this year and focused her work specifically around childcare access. So I would love to ask you a few questions and have you share a little bit about what you learned and what that experience was like. But what made you pick childcare access as the focus for your work?
Um, so when I was going to school and a lot of my friends were also student parents, that was mostly like the bubble that I was in. A lot of the problems or issues was not how hard the schoolwork was or any of it. It was really childcare and finding time like outside of um, the traditional hours. By that I mean like of school. Sometimes it was after or before just to study and for finals. So that was honestly one of the biggest barriers that I felt that not only I faced, but a lot of my friends and student parents, and not just in undergrad, but also post-grad, they would just have to go through a lot of hoops and swings just to make sure that their children were in a safe or cared for space. I had a mom friend who would drop her kids off way early in the morning because she couldn't, she also had three children, and UCLA had very limited subsidized spots, so she was still on the wait list. She would drop them off at her mom's house and then have like a 40-minute commute just to get to school. So it really puts those things into perspective of how much stable childcare is necessary for families, especially student parents.
I didn't think about the fact, and I appreciate you bringing it up, the fact that it isn't just having a place to put your child, but is the place close to you and close to part of your daily work? Or is it like another 80 minutes out of your already crazy schedules? You were able to do some work with the lab. Can you tell us kind of where you ended up with your prototype? And if you had suggestions to colleges that were thinking about childcare, what would you suggest to them?
Yes, so I love this question. I did spend a long time on this issue in specific. And the biggest, I guess, the outcome or the solution that we kind of all agreed upon was having a sort of like a navigation plan or an acclimation plan for student parents. Like we're just kind of thrown into the university and there's really no like support. So I really was the one who had to seek out friends and how they did it when they were in school. So if I really had like a counselor or someone connected with me that would kind of help through that process, like a resource plan of, okay, if you didn't have this spot, what's the backup? And also, we suggested as a prototype of a badge. So, for student parents that are applying to colleges or universities, there would be like a parenting friendly badge that would show if that college had childcare on campus or if it was like accessible for student parents to have childcare and resources, all of that while they're scouting schools, we proposed a badge and I guess like a resource or navigation plan for not only parents to acclimate and transition into university, but also for their children. Um, yeah.
I love that so much. I'm gonna pick up on something that you just said and shift us over to another question. You mentioned that even if childcare on campus wasn't an issue, at least give us the resources to figure out what we can do. And for many colleges, having childcare on their campus right now is not feasible, not realistic, or is something that is going to take several years of work. So let's talk a little bit, and this will be focusing, Susanna, I'm going to toss it to you when I finish talking in a second. But let's talk about some of these strategic partnerships that colleges can enter into to support parenting students. Some of the folks that we've heard from and some of our partners have partnerships with groups like YMCA, the YWCA. They have partnerships with babysitting services where student parents are getting a discount for using these verified babysitting services. So there's different kind of creative ways that colleges are trying to stopgap that. But there's a bigger purpose for some of these partnerships as well, right? So, how can strategic partnerships, including Kids on Campus and Head Start, how can they support parenting students and accessing childcare? And Suzanne, I'm just going to throw it right to you to start us out with your discussion.
Yes, I love this. We have some research papers on how do we bridge two systems, right? The higher ed and the early learning system. And so really what Kids on Campus is birthed out of some of that information, whereas we're working to bring Head Start programs to community college campuses and supporting them through like a two-gen approach. Um, it's in partnership with, ACCT. We thought it was going to be a lot easier than it really is. There have been a lot of challenges, but a lot of successes, right? And a lot of learnings. And that's kind of what this initiative is about, is how do we bring two really strong systems, right, community colleges that have been around a long time, Head Starts that have been around since the 60s, 60 plus years, and bring them together to help meet their missions, right? There's a lot of alignment, and I'm not going to go into all of that. But basically, we know that sometimes these partnerships, specifically with on-campus Head Start programs, may not make sense, right? Or there's not enough space. And so, I'll go back into kids on campus a little bit, but I want to make sure we're addressing the question if on-campus childcare is not feasible, right, are not available, what are parents supposed to do? And while it's all ideal, we want to make sure that student parents have affordable, accessible care for their children. Many colleges don't have the space, don't have the funding. Licensing can be a real big issue. In some states, it takes 18 months to get licensing. By that time, student parents maybe have to stop out or have moved or for whatever reason. That's a long time. And but there are also other ways that colleges and student parents can get the support that they need. Some things that we've seen are partnering again with your local Head Start or early Head Start program, and that means not just co-locating centers. Head Start is it's both center-based and home-based. So what Head Start does is we basically provide high-quality early learning care and comprehensive services for families. And so while 90% of our program in dollars, federal to local dollars, go to center-based programs, there is a small funds where, Head Start can come into the family home and provide support in helping them navigate FAFSA or find care and all those kinds of things. So really supporting those home-based services for student parents who may not have a center or a slot that they can go to. Providing priority enrollment for student parents in community programs. So even just partnering with your local Head Start to get their priority enrollment, but even just opening registration. I think one of the student, Marisol, you talked a little bit about this of like being able to access classes and courses a little bit ahead of time because their schedules are a little bit more logistically challenging. Offering on-campus navigation support and family resources, really understanding what it means to navigate school, work, and childcare. Creating student parent resources, resource centers, or family lounges, even if you're just bringing, have a space at the library where the student can be studying and the child can be in a somewhat safe area there with the parent. You're creating a welcoming, family-friendly environment. And aligning classes with class schedule with childcare hours, whether that's informal or formal. Ideally, we want formal licensed care, but the reality is some student parents rely on their friends, family, or neighbor. And so talking and understanding who are your student parents on your college campus and what are their needs? Are they all in an evening nursing program? How do you help if their childcare hours are during the day or they work hours, whatever. So it's aligning the childcare hours with the class schedule is very important. And then really shifting of mindset at the college level. And Head Starts can help do that a little bit, where it's like we're looking at childcare as a basic need strategy for the college campus, and Head Start can come in as a partner because we provide like a 360 approach. Mental health, we have a nurse on staff, we have mental health therapists on staff. Again, home-based programs, and so there's just a lot of opportunities with a strong program like Head Start. And what we've also seen is when Head Starts and colleges come together, a lot of state and local funding kind of come in after that. So that's always good.
You have to mute, Rebecca. I
Thank
mean,
you.
you're on mute. Sorry.
I told you before the session started, it's always me. I love hearing about partnerships that bring in additional dollars um, to funding. Susanna, before we jump into the next question, I wanted to give you any more time to talk about your specific group and Head Start and why colleges may want to think about bringing Head Start in. And I'll switch slides whenever you're ready for me.
Yeah, so basically, I kind of jumped around a little bit.
You're good.
I was really focused on like if kids on campus and Head Start on college campuses doesn't work, what do we do? But again, we're learning with this Kids on Campus, the national initiative. I'm a co-director. I have a director over at the Association of Community College Trustees. Well, we're really working to again bring Head Start programs to community college campuses. But not only, at base minimum, it's providing slots in care for students, free care for students, high quality care for students, giving them priority and all that good stuff. But on the other end, the benefits for the college too is allowing maybe your non-parenting students to access the Head Start classroom for practicum, apprenticeships, and those kinds of supports as well as an enrollment recruitment tactic, right? Head Start has really great data on their student parents, I'm sorry, on their Head Start parents who want to further their education. A lot of the times they have family goals. One of their federal requirements for Head Start is that every family has a family goal. Sometimes that's getting a job. A lot of the times it's education or learning English. And the local colleges or universities can help and support some of that. And so finding a good partner, whether you're co-located or not, right? They can tap into their Head Start program to get student parents or families who want to continue their education to become student parents at the college. One of the misnomers that we've heard from college presidents is that, one, I don't have data on my student parents or student parents aren't here. Again, it's the invisible population. A lot of times they feel isolated. So one is encouraging them to get that data. But two, Head Start has that data. And so to be able to help demystify that student parents are in need. The data shows, and we know that the student parents nationally who are on college campuses qualify for Head Start. About 50% of student parents qualify for Head Start. The numbers are higher. Income qualify are higher when you look at single student parents. And that's just one of many ways in which four categories for eligibility. Income is one. If a family's on TANF, SNAP, SSI, that's also an automatic eligibility. If the family's experiencing homelessness, they're automatically eligible. If the child's in foster care or like a failure to thrive, a lot of the times they're automatically eligible. And that's some things that people don't know. And sometimes college staff and faculty actually qualify for Head Start. So, yeah. And I'll leave the other slide. I know you're going to send these slides to folks. It's if you want to go to the next one, just gives a little bit about who we serve and what we do. Again, it's beyond just childcare in a slot, in a high quality slot for children. It's really helping families become economically mobile, helping parents get their education or employment, and a lot of times they have better health outcomes. So that's just the slide.
Thank you so much, Susanna. We appreciate you jumping in and giving us some feedback or some information. We are going to share these slides with everyone, and we'll also make sure Susanna's information is included. So if you want to reach out and talk and learn more about how Head Start can potentially partner with you all, you'll have that resource available to you. We're going to shift over to a continuation of our problem, right? Our continuation, of course, ideal childcare on campus. I can drop my kid off when I go to class and pick them up when I'm done. That sounds great. Licensed, high quality childcare right where I am. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe we start thinking about a Head Start partnership, or maybe we are engaging with a Head Start partnership. Even if that is not feasible, because we know even on-campus daycares, only about 10 to 15% of those slots are serving student parents on campuses. So it's really important that we realize that as well, that a lot of those on-care campus slots aren't always accessible to the student parents that are getting them. So if on-campus childcare is just not feasible, what are some things that colleges can do to get creative and think about how to perhaps support their parenting student population? And I already heard Susanna say a few things about scheduling your classes with childcare access in mind. Stephanie, I'm going to turn to you because you also have an answer to this question.
Okay, well, I would say one of the things that they can do is really with the strategic partnering, which is very much so in line with what we were discussing. So sometimes campuses, like you stated, Rebecca, can't afford or don't have the resources to. So you have to start looking in the community to supplement those types of gaps that student parents typically face, which is what our whole framework is over at Steady and Play. So we partner with institutions, our surrounding institutions, and they send us their student parent population, and they're able to come to our center, utilize it to study, do online classes, credentials, licensing, while their children engage in supervised play. So it is a family friendly study center. I'm really excited to share the story of Kelly. As you see, that's my favorite picture of her and of Bailey. It's the cutest thing. She is now a emergency RN nurse. I originally met Kelly when she was a student at Baton Rouge General's in their nursing program. She was actually about to stop out because she just had her daughter. She was having issues financially, trying to figure out how she was going to do childcare. She did have some family who were able to assist, but that was kind of like here and there, and they really couldn't get a schedule, which a lot of student parents face as well. Um, so just really having her tell me what was going on and us being able to offer this support system. We were new at the time. She was one of in our first cohort. She was able to come. She studied there. She took her test there. She knew that her daughter was in close proximity, enjoying the play area with supervised play, making sure that she was safe and nearby. After Kelly graduated from Baton Rouge General, she was able to also utilize our center to study for the NCLEX, which is the nursing test that she was able to pass on the first try. And she does say that she was able to get through it because she had this type of support, which we're so proud of. Um, as I said, she works now in the emergency room as an RN nurse. Bailey is now 4. She is doing absolutely amazing. Um, she's in school and she was able to see her mother pull through, be resilient, and really accomplish her goals. And that's that 2 generational approach that we all love to discuss. To whereas, they're seeing education as the vehicle to social mobility, and not even just that, they're seeing their parent pull through and not quit, and really bouncing that motivation off of each other. She tells Bailey all the time that she was the reason that she didn't quit and why she wanted to complete this. Now Bailey has the vision that she can do whatever she wants to do, and everything is possible. So we're really excited to share that story.
I love that so much. And one of the things that was always so interesting about your work and Study and Play is the way that you took, yes, there's an issue. We don't have childcare on campus. There may not be room on campus. There may be a whole bunch of licensing issues if we try to get daycare on campus. And said, let's start with what we have and do something that works for students. So I'd love to ask you a little bit more about if a college wanted to think about a supervised play model. And this is like highlighting Stephanie has done a blog that will be coming to you all in the email to follow up about what supervised play models might look like. But Stephanie, can you give us a little bit of understanding about why colleges should think about that model?
I think that they should think about that model, one, because it's an easy setup, as well as it is one, it helps with retention, it helps with recruitment. And then our service learning component piece is really something that they enjoy as well. So for the supervised play, we're able to utilize our partnership with their early child care service learners, interns, volunteers to really do that volunteer aspect of it, which for the supervised play is really A, sustainable, and B, it comes at a benefit to not only the student parent who gets to benefit from the supervised play, but also from the person providing the supervised play. Those credits go towards their graduation completion. It goes towards their community engagement. And then it also gives them a piece of being a part of a community as well that's helping their fellow colleague accomplish and obtain their educational goals. So that's something that campuses really, really like. And then something, Susanna, that you spoke on too. They're like, their mom went to Southern. I was to Southern, I'm a JAG, so of course I have to use Southern. So their mom went to Southern, and the child is on campus with the mom all the time. She's seeing these types of resources. She's really getting a relationship with the university. So then typically what data shows is that that becomes their first choice of the institution that they want to attend also, right? So it's really that 2 generational approach again, which is something that we absolutely really appreciate and enjoy. It helps with retention, it helps with recruitment, and it really supports the next generation. So a lot of institutions have been very happy to hear that.
Well, I have just thank you to everyone who's been on the panel. We're going to drill in just one more layer and we're going to do a quick activity. So thank you to our panel. Before I take the focus away from you, does anyone have any final words of encouragement to college leaders, faculty, staff who are trying to support student parents who don't have access to childcare?
I think one thing I wanted to make sure I underscore is that what I'm seeing when I'm talking with college leadership is it's really helping them shift their mindset in that childcare for student parents is not a business model. And then it's not something that you just, that you're like, that's kindercare. I'm not in the business of childcare, or their childcare center is consistently running in the red. You have to shift your mindset and really see it as a student service, and build it into that. Because childcare is expensive. And if you don't want to get in the business of childcare, contact your local Head Start program. But it's really, again, it's like
Yeah.
it is part of the work, and you have to see it as a student service and not as like a childcare business that I'm not a part of.
Love that.
Absolutely agree with her on that. I absolutely agree. They have to see it as something that is need, that is an educational attainment, and that it is in the benefit of the student as well as the institution. So I fully agree with you, Susanna.
I want to step in right quick. It's a question in chat for you, Stephanie. So we could spend maybe like a couple seconds or a minute here. They asked, how is Study and Play funded?
We are a braided funded. So we get state, we get grants. We have a lot of great partnerships who see the work and would like to be a part of it. So we really pull our funding from different areas and braided funding.
Thank you so much. Shifting it back to you, Rebecca.
Thank you. All right. Before we jump, Ansara, Marisol, anything that you would add to why colleges should support student parents finding childcare?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes. I just want to say that a piggyback off of Stephanie and Susanna, all of what they said, I'm so happy that they spoke about it. But it just having stable childcare can really change a family's life. It sometimes it's really what school is like a way out of poverty for them. So, and having stable childcare is what's keeping moms, like single moms or families from retention. And it's like their only hope. So it really does change lives, and it's more of a student service in the long run. It's not a business model, as Susanna was saying.
Yeah, definitely echo what everyone said. And I think to what Marisol spoke on earlier, that, with her group of student parents she was around at school, it's like, yes, the coursework is rigorous, all that stuff, but the hardest part is childcare, and just seeing it like what Susanna said, like it is a service that should get provided by school from these universities there so that student parents can succeed, because that is like probably one of the hardest thing to try to balance while being a student.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing with us both your personal and professional experiences around providing childcare for student parents. We want to hop into a tool very quickly. One of my team is going to put a link in the chat to a Miro. Miro is just a collaborative white space, and I'm going to pull up the screen that we're looking at as well. This is a tool that you all can take this link and use it whenever you are trying to build buy-in or have conversations about parenting students being supported in higher education. So when Sporg started, we started with some intense listening to student parents about how they would redesign college. And we've compiled all of that learning into this board. Like I said, please feel free to share this. Use this whenever you're doing things to build buy-in for student parents. But what you'll see here, and you can zoom in and out the way that you would normally zoom in and out with your screen, either with your touchpad or with your keyboard shortcuts. And you can navigate the screen to see different areas that we've established for you. You'll see all over that there are small um, caricatures of student parents with some stories in there. Those were all taken from student parent listening and things that we've heard. So you'll see that, and you'll also see Paula. Paula is kind of our anchor student parent in this particular map. And if you follow along her journey, along the pink dotted line, you'll see these little books. And these little books are moments that have happened in the semester that have impacted Paula as a parenting student differently. So for this one, Paula's in class, she sees a huge syllabus from her English professor. So we dive into and we ask student parents, when these things happen, what are you feeling? What do you need? What are you thinking? And how is your family impacted? So we created some portraits of what this looks like throughout the semester for you, so you can explore those as well. And then the other thing that we have here for you to explore is by specific areas of campus. So we ask student parents, What would you want admissions to know about you? What would you want faculty to know about you? What is important for these different areas of campus to know about serving you and supporting you? And we created from hearing that a job description for what an admissions officer or an admissions group at an institution should look like and what they should be doing for student parents, including bonus tips if you establish a kitty corner or other really powerful, concrete examples like that. So, we're going to give you all some time to explore and to look around. Please make sure that anytime you see or think of, oh, this is a great way that admissions can support parenting students who don't have childcare. Maybe they make virtual admissions sessions available. Go ahead and leave stickies wherever you can think of ways that colleges and institutions can support student parents in those areas. I'm only going to give you about 5 minutes to play, but like I said, you do get to take this with you. You can take the link and use this whenever you want. Share it out as much as you would like, but I'm going to give you all about 5 minutes to just explore and leave notes, leave comments. I will play a song or half one and a half songs if I can figure out how to do that. So go ahead and have some fun. Let me get some music going.
Things have gotta change. That is what you said. And then you gotta call. And now you gotta leave. And although we cry, our hearts are full. So full to the brim. Until we meet again. We fell in love under the magnolia tree again. We fell in love under the magnolia tree again. I'll send you pictures of our magnolia tree, of how it blooms in spring, and how the blackbirds sing. And although we cry, our hearts are full, so full to the brim, until we meet again. Oh, baby, I miss you. We fell in love under the magnolia tree again. We fell in love under the magnolia tree again. In the morning hours, when the city starts to wake, when we're strolling through the park, and we share a piece of cake. I kiss you in the afternoon, and we have a cup of tea, and we watch the sun go down, and we hold hands and fall asleep. We fell in love under the magnolia tree again. We fell in love under the magnolia tree again.
All right, we're gonna call you back just a minute or two early. Please remember, save this, bookmark it. You can use this particular mural whenever you're talking and want folks to think about supporting student parents while they're on campus. I'm gonna pass it over to Camille.
Thanks, Rebecca. And thank you so much to everyone who shared your expertise, your personal experiences, and just the incredible work that you're doing on the ground to make childcare more accessible for student parents. And so as we wrap up, we just wanted to circle back on this question around confidence, supporting parenting learners. And so would like you all to head back to the chat and we'll just give it a quick 5 seconds. Just give us a gut check after today. How confident do you feel supporting a parenting learner who does not have access to childcare? We'll count down from 10 and then we'll hit send. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Yeah, I learn something every single time we have a conversation about childcare, and there's still so much to learn. And would just also love to hear from you all before we close out. Like, what are you taking with you today? Maybe it's a quote, maybe it's an idea, or maybe it's a next step. So we'd love to hear from you all what you're taking away from today, even if it's just a continued question. Yes, and thank you, Brianna. We were just getting to that. We have another webinar we'd love to promote that New America is leading next week. And we actually have is Stephanie still on? We have Stephanie Baker. If would love to give you the mic for 2 seconds if you want to also promote. But let's get through this question first. So it's been a minute. All right. So what are you taking with you today? We're gonna hit send in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Brianna was ready. All right. So we see some awareness, talking to admissions, helping parenting students, even if it's holding their baby. Yeah, continue to please keep sharing these in the chat with us. We'd love to know and we'd love to hear more of what the community would like to see next. So now, as we think about next steps, Stephanie, do you want to say, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you want to say anything about the childcare webinar next week?
I can
Oh,
unmute. I'll give the access. 1 second.
all right. So while you're getting that access, just put the
Okay.
link back
You should be able to speak now.
in the chat.
Hi, Sport colleagues. Thank you so much for sharing our webinar next week. We would love to have folks on this call join us. We'll be spotlighting a policy agenda that my team put out last fall with both federal and state recommendations to improve childcare access for student parents. And I'm most excited to have a good handful of guest speakers with me to share different strategies that either at the state level or institutional level they've used to help expand care for student parents. So come join us to learn more.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Can't wait to see you there and hope to see many of you at the Gen Hope conference later this month. If you're going to be there, let us know. Would love to meet up. And then last but certainly not least, on April 8th, we have a prototype showcase. So just as you heard from Marisol, and Sarah, myself, Brianna, we all work together as a student parent design team to tackle different challenges and come up with prototypes that we can use to support the field. Susanna.
Kids on Campus, our Texas site, will be at Hope and doing a presentation.
Oh, awesome. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. So great to hear. All right, well, that's it for us. We're happy to stay on if anyone has any questions or would like to chat. But thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
I'm going to stay on a little later so I can chat with you guys. Is that okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Yes.
Layla, I believe that's how you pronounce it. We will send a follow-up email with information. All right, contacts.
And do you want to stop recording?
You're welcome. Have a great day.